So good evening, everyone, and thank you, Binoj, for giving me the opportunity to share these views. It's certainly a privilege to be here, both because I'm in the midst of a very august group of people who have studied and know the business of people and talent a lot more than I do, although I know it more from a practicing perspective. It's equally a privilege because I think all of you represent a generation that now happens to know a lot more than what we knew 25 years ago when we were about to get into corporate life. Having said that, both through my sons who are somewhat your age and my guest lectures and my interaction with youngsters who we recruit all the time, being in the ideas business, there is a sense I have often that the MBA inculcates in you a tearing hurry of sort in your head at some level. And while it might be a bit of a contrarian view, it comes after talking to a lot of people, observing a lot of successful leaders, seeing a lot of wonderful clients perform, and then learn. So these are not just my views. So on this whole hurry business, I just have two things to tell you. One, like some wise man said, the good thing about the future is that it unfolds one day at a time, right? So you don't have to sort of constantly be breathless and run here and there. The other thing to understand is, you know, what business are we in question when you ask to the MBA itself. You're really, I mean, people talk about money and value creation, profits, those happen. There's no choice but to do that in any case. But I think you're fundamentally in the business of transforming, you're in the business of making a difference, you're in the business of building something of enduring value. And as you will realize that all these three things can't be done in a tearing hurry. They are processes which require a certain quietness in the head, a little reflection, before you kind of leap. And in the same spirit, for those of you who are in your first year, I'd like to quickly sort of say that while there is a big, once again, tearing hurry to do projects and keep working in live sort of situations, companies and so on and so forth, understand that you're in an academic place. The rest of your lives, you're going to do live projects. So spend more time with your teachers, spend more time with your books, spend more time with yourself. Because that is what is going to hold you in good stead, and you're not going to get that opportunity to do again unless you return as a student to some academic place. For the second years, perhaps it's a little late for what I'm going to say now, or maybe it's not, because you already got a job. But certainly for the first years, I'd say that post the MBA, that's another fantastic golden opportunity to do what your heart tells you to do. I don't know how many of you were lucky that you got to do what you wanted to do post your +2 level. Maybe all of you were lucky. Not everyone is. But this is one next big opportunity to not treat your life as business as usual and really ask yourself, what is it that I deeply care for? What is it that I'd like to spend the rest of my life doing? And there's this wonderful thing that Emerson said that, you know, what would have happened if stars came out once every 1,000 years? If that happened, all of us would stay up the whole night. The whole world would turn religious. Everyone would start seeing the glory of God. But because stars come out every night, maybe we watch television, right? And it's a very, very important thing for you to realize that don't treat your post-MBA phase as a business as usual phase. Forget the rest of the world. As far as you're concerned, it's the equivalent of the stars coming out in once in 1,000 years. So give it that weightage, give it that importance. Of course, various people said before me, and you will keep reading, that you need to worry about knowledge, skills, attitude. You need to worry about reflecting and thinking well. You need to worry about networking with a meaningful sense, not just whining, dining. You need to check your own work ethic, because hobnobbing with your friends in the campus is not the same as getting things done in the outside world. But a couple of things that normally get missed in this whole thing, in this whole busy corporate existence. One is fitness. So I tell you, no one is going to tell you about fitness in your first 5 years of work. So maybe I should tell you now that right from the day one of your job, no matter how busy you are and no matter how ambitious you are, don't worry about, always worry about staying physically and mentally fit, because only then you're going to perform well, you're going to be in your peak state. So that's a hugely important thing. The other thing is you'll keep meeting a lot of people in your own company and associates and clients and all of that. while you'll be there to get business done, don't forget that there is a deeper person behind that business source, and that there's something to be learned from each individual who crosses your path, and maybe walk with that hat so that every interaction becomes richer and it's not just a mundane task to be done so that some money is made. I think the business perspectives of business, like the first presentation said, will be many and they'll be told to you again and again and again. But I'd only like to kind of end by giving a couple of home truths, which is, while you might be ambitious, while there'll be corporate issues, while there'll be some amount of politics, we live in a real world after all. I think it's important to be guided by 2 or 3 simple things that work for me and work for many other people who I've spoken to. One is to tell yourself that a principle isn't a principle unless it costs you money. It's one big sobering truth. Remember that. The second thing is, everything, just about everything that happens to you is a choice you make. No one else holds a gun against your head. And the third and perhaps the most important thing also is that you can go through life with one of the 2 perspectives. Either that you're battling something or you're building something. I find it very, very interesting. As a manager, you will be in the midst of people, you will be in the midst of processes, you will be in the midst of getting things done all the time. And you can either wear this hat that I'm battling something, or you can keep saying that I'm building something. That building something could be knowledge, building something could be a relationship, building something could be a process, building something could be a value. But I think it's just a great idea to go through life thinking, particularly as managers, that you're building something and not battling something. That's a great way to put positive energy.